Respected Islamic scholars on the dais, brothers and sisters, every crisis is an opportunity. The present crisis in the Islamic world gives us an opportunity to reflect, find out what has gone wrong, and take corrective action. This may be a cliche, but for the last 2 decades, Islamic countries have been rocked by wars, internecine squabbles, and social and political unrest. First, we had the Iran-Afghan war, Muslims destroying each other. Then, of course, the so-called continuation of the Crusades, the Gulf War I and Gulf War II. And now, we are faced with the devastation that followed the Arab Spring in the Middle East and North Africa. It has been an unending chain of violence, death, and destruction. There can be no denying the fact that something terrible has happened to the house of Islam. This is a matter of concern for all of us who belong to the Muslim faith. The rest of the world, of course, is concerned, not because they have sympathies towards Islam, but because of the fact that the natural resources of energy are threatened. I congratulate the organizers of this conference for holding this 2-day conclave to find out what really ails the Muslim mind. Unless we know that precisely, we will never be able to stem the rot and repair the damage which has already been caused to Islam. The weakening of Islam has created an ideological vacuum. Most of the 20th century was wasted in simply maintaining the bipolar imbalance. And when the so-called evil empire to the Americans collapsed, we found that capitalism took over control of the planet. Today, less 1% of the world population is controlling the bulk of the world resources, leaving the rest of humanity to poverty. This is really an unjust situation. This simply cannot be tolerated any further. It is an age of media blitz where a few corporate media houses control perceptions worldwide. We have thus become blind to grim realities and what is really happening in the Muslim world. With 2 world wars and a number of other major conflicts in which millions perished, the 20th century has been the bloodiest in human history. The 21st century began with the American declaration of war on terror. Was it so? Or was it a camouflage to control energy resources in the Muslim world? I leave that question open to you. The entire Middle East and North Africa up in flames, primarily because Islam has become a divided house. It is now for us to act and act immediately, stop this madness of violence and terror, and it is us who have to fight and end this needless bloodshed. It is also time to ask some disturbing questions. Who are we? Are we one Ummah in one God, united in one God, or a group of sect worshippers? Are we different sects? If God is one, Prophet is one, Quran is one, and collective interest of all of us is one, then why should we identify ourselves as Shia or Sunni, Hanafi or Wahhabi, and even worse, Deobandi or Barelvi? This is a blatant deviation from the true and straight path of Islam. It amounts to blasphemy. It amounts to shirk. It is time for us to think what we want to resurrect Islam. We are unnecessarily destroying ourselves by internecine conflicts. We must not allow the gap of knowledge. Unfortunately, it is the gap of knowledge which has precipitated this whole problem. We must not allow the gap of knowledge with the West to widen any further. The answer for the Islamic world is quest for knowledge or education, especially of women. We cannot allow 50% of our productive population to be unproductive. We must give them the means of education. We must allow them to contribute towards nation building. We must allow them to work for Islam. Aligarh Muslim University is playing a major role towards widening this gulf of knowledge. The university is committed to work for the cultural and educational advancement of citizens of India, but especially of Muslims. I am glad to say that the number of women students in the university is increasing by leaps and bounds, and to date the figures are 40% are women. That is a very, very encouraging sign. I hope this conference gives you a true university experience of what is the culture, inclusive culture of Aligarh Muslim University. A lot of citizens, especially of India, have a misconception of what Aligarh Muslim University is all about. It is a modern, secular, inclusive university, but with an Islamic flavor, and we will keep it that way. If we want to create a better world, we cannot do it alone. We cannot do it without education. We cannot do it without research. We cannot allow the gap with the West to widen any further. Like-minded, God-fearing individuals of all religions are here today, and we are very, very proud of that fact. I am sure that the deliberations in the next few days will be fruitful and give answers to what ails the Muslim world, and more so the Muslim mind. And I'm sure that we will have the answers, and inshallah we will take corrective action. I wish your deliberations fruitful. God bless you all. Khuda Hafiz.